The very beginnings of Tanuki Game Studio can be traced back approximately 10 years to a university campus in Barcelona. One of its philosophy students, Eduardo Bonin, had grown up imagining and creating fantastical worlds. It was inevitable then that one day he would think to himself, why not do this more seriously? It would be awesome to be able to create worlds and share them with others. Video games truly are the ultimate art form. So he contacted various friends and met Eric Luque, a musician who accepted his challenge, together taking the first steps towards a project they called Led by Light. The idea captured the minds of men, bringing together a group of outstanding people, programmers like Marc Canet and Aleix Cots, and artists such as Joel Calvo, Bernat Argemi, Pedro Perez, and David Haig. This was when Tanuki Game Studio was born. The project, Led by Light, was quickly catching wind in its sails, powering forwards. However, the lack of experience in the development of indie games meant that the game was becoming too ambitious. Resources were scarce, forcing many of them to move on to other jobs, complicating the already arduous task. It was becoming obvious that the beast was simply too big. However, the team were a long way from giving up, and as everybody knows, you learn and grow from your mistakes. Led by Light gave them the perspective they needed to understand they should aim to tackle smaller, more realistic projects. The team then published the game Octo, a space shooter designed for mobile devices that, despite being simple, it brought together a small community of players that gave Tanuki the push they needed to keep trying these new ideas. As such, they dove headfirst into the indie community. They participated in game jams, and they even took a few prizes home along the way. During this time, they made a project called the Ender Zone. This supposed small end-of-term project or programming course turned into a beautiful journey full of learning moments for all of them that resulted in a very entertaining game. After completing these small side projects, the team was renewed with the strength necessary to rejoin and make something spectacular with all of these newly learned lessons. Ideas bounced around until they decided, let's make a 2D platformer, but let's add the beauty and sense of exploration that the old 90s graphic adventure platformer games had. This time, the game production was much more organized and well planned, and it had something going for it that the other games just didn't have. With just a few posts on social media, a few teasers, people were loving it. The hype was real. Shortly after starting, big news arrived. PlayStation talents had written to them, letting them know that they'd been chosen to partake in the initial rounds of selection for their Games Camp 2020. Tanuki quickly pieced together all of their important documents and went to Madrid to meet, for the first time face-to-face, the real experts. After a short but agonizing wait, it came through. They had been chosen. And so, the Library of Babel was born. This was their chance to prove that they could do it, and they well and truly did that. The ability to create something exceptional in all aspects. They based their game on the literary work by Jorge Luis Borges, The Library of Babel. This small manuscript, sprinkled with inspiration from Pluto by Naoki Urasawa and Apocalypse Now by Francis Ford Coppola, was going to be a magnificent fusion of 3 successful video game genres: platformer, stealth, and graphic adventure. This was the formula, the direction the team was going to take. They were going to create a platformer game with the traditional level structure, where map areas become harder as you progress through the game. However, in order to progress, the player must obtain, exchange, and combine items found throughout the world. All of this splashed with a sense of danger and action in areas where the player has to show skill and patience, studying and engagement, waiting and responding quickly with stealth and agility. All of this back in March 2020. And since then, they haven't stopped, working hard every day, giving it everything they've got, in what will be the first of hopefully many important game launches for the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. Thank you very much for your time and attention, and we hope you've enjoyed listening to the journey that's brought us to where we are now, to you guys at Weird Market 2020. We will now leave you guys with the gameplay trailer to the Library of Babel, the game that's coming out in 2021 on the PlayStation platforms, and we're hoping to find another publisher for the second part of the game. So please, from all of us here at Tanuki Game Studio, sit back and feast your eyes and ears on the beauty that we've been working on so feverishly over the last year.
For the players.